Topping today's news, the Office of the Prime Minister addressing artificial intelligence used to scam people. The National Security Minister reveals the new Royal Bahamas Defence Force Commodore. Parliament debates new legislation to strengthen the financial services sector. And high school students will be using a new Bahamian-produced history book when they return to school in September. Jcn Evening News, I'm Jcn Saunders. Thank you so much for joining us. Last week, it was revealed that the Davis administration will not be renewing the contract for Royal Bahamas Defence Force Commodore Dr. Raymond King. Well, on Wednesday, outside the House of Assembly, the Minister for National Security, Wayne Munro, was asked who the new Commodore will be, and he revealed as much.
Captain Floyd Moxey is set to take over CDF, and Captains Colin Bethel and Natasha Miller will assume the appointed deputy commanders of the Defence Force.
The official opposition expressed their displeasure for the way Dr. King was handled. Mr. Munro rejected the assertion that the replacement of Dr. King is politically motivated and explains the following.
He doesn't have a contract. He got an appointment. In the military, once you get an appointment, once it's over, you leave. The Commodore and I went to 2 handover of commands of Southern Command. He went to 2 of Northern Command, of the Rhode Island National Guard, of the overall National Guard. Back when we started the Defense Force, when you went from the English Commodores to the first Bahamian Commodore, you could justify saying you couldn't find someone to replace him. But we've reached a point where you have 4 sufficient officers to be CDF. The military tradition is you get 1 and out.
So I'm guessing, to just clarify, it's not a case of like government not wanting to, it's just giving the natural course of succession since his appointment is up to someone else?
Yes. Once you finish your appointment as the head of an organization, that's it. You don't come back over and over again. In the military, once you finish the appointment, that's it. That's what I've observed since I've been in the chair. U.S. Southcom, so U.S. Northcom, Rhode Island National Guard, the entire National Guard apparatus. What is very good is that this time, for one of the first times, we're going to have a formal, organized handing over from one man in uniform to another man in uniform.
Dr. King has served the Royal Bahamas Defence Force as Commodore since 2019 when he was appointed under the Minnis administration. The handing over ceremony is scheduled for Thursday, May 8th. With the rising threat of deep fake artificial intelligence videos circulating the internet impersonating public officials, Wayne Munro, the Minister for National Security, spoke at a press briefing this morning held at the Office of the Prime Minister to address this very serious matter.
In recent weeks, we have seen a sharp increase in AI-generated content, which are highly realistic videos and audio clips using artificial intelligence to impersonate public figures in the Bahamas. These videos aren't harmless tricks. They are being used to carry out financial scams, targeting unsuspected citizens with false promises and fraudulent schemes. These videos are fake. They do not reflect the action, statements, or endorsement of those who they portray. They are a part of a growing pattern of criminal activity aimed at exploiting trust, distorting truth, and separating people from their hard-earned money.
Minister Munro advised Bahamians to be vigilant to these videos to avoid being scammed, addressing the people behind these AI videos, and urged the media to help get the message across to avoid people from falling for these fraudulent financial schemes. House of Assembly members debating legislation that will reinforce the Bahamas' commitment to preventing money laundering, combating terrorism financing, and upholding the highest standard of financial integrity. That was on Wednesday. Prime Minister Philip Davis, in his contribution, said the Executive Entities Amendment Bill and the Bank and Trust Regulations Amendment Bill will make a small but significant change to help strengthen the country's financial services regulatory framework.
The world of financial services is changing rapidly. What was innovative yesterday will be obsolete tomorrow. That's why we have stayed nimble, rolling out key amendments to maintain our competitive edge in markets like Brazil, when the once innovative icons became outdated. Overhauling the business license regime for IBCs and updating the regulatory framework for our Securities Commission. This brings me to the two bills before us today: the Executive Entities Amendment Bill 2025 and the Banks and Trust Companies Regulation Amendment Bill 2025. These bills represent our ongoing commitment to excellence in regulating our financial services sector by addressing a specific gap in our current framework.
Opposition leader Michael Pintard said they support the amendments, but he was critical of the government for taking an unfocused approach to addressing the concerns in the financial services sector.
And so my remarks today in no way seeks to criticize them, but it is to say that the government must be more intentional about its financial services strategic plan. Madam Speaker, just as we have made the point regarding the lack of proper fiscal and economic planning, we must again make the point here regarding the Davis administration ad hoc approach to financial services industry, and in this instance, the international financial sector. Where is the documented strategic plan for the international financial sector that incorporates the view and perspectives of all key stakeholders in the industry? Why are we only seeing a piecemeal legislative adjustments when a substantial refocus is required to ensure that the Bahamas both builds back its market share that we have lost over time and successfully exploit new opportunities?
Meanwhile, the amendments will ensure that the Central Bank of the Bahamas will have direct regulatory oversight over executive entities that function as trustees, filling an important gap in the financial services regulatory architecture. With the government looking to increase the number of hotel rooms in the country to help boost tourism stopover visitors, the Nassau Airport Development Company, NAD, is renewing its request for expression of interest for the development of a new hotel at the Lynden Pendling International Airport. Jan Knowles, Vice President of Marketing for NAD, made the announcement on Wednesday.
We are pleased to be exploring the idea of bringing an airport hotel to LPIA as part of a broader landside development master plan. We believe that a well-designed airport hotel not only addresses a critical gap in accommodations for guests, airline crews, and business professionals, but as our President and CEO, Vernice Joaquin, indicated, it also strengthens our airport's role as a key economic driver. We're especially encouraged by the full support of the Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable Chester Cooper, and his team at the Ministry of Tourism, Investments and Aviation for this project. They clearly recognize that it is important that we enhance our airport infrastructure, and it is equally important to expand our hotel capacity. This project achieves both goals.
Knowles said the hotel is one of several projects under consideration as part of NAD's long-term vision for the airport. Local and international companies are invited to design, build, finance, and operate the new airport hotel that will have up to 250 rooms. And finally, in this segment, Bahamas Air and its managerial staff signing a new industrial agreement on Wednesday. Public Managers Union President Leslie Munnings pleased with the agreement that he believes will help grow the airline and inspire the managerial staff. Managing Director at Bahamas Air, Tracy Cooper, also expressed delight with the new industrial agreement, especially in light of recent industrial action by the union in December last year.
It's always good when the airline can come to an agreement with our union partners and by extension our staff. We were able to negotiate in good faith and be able to bring this thing to a close in a reasonable period of time.
Bahamas Air recently acquired a new 70-seater aircraft to augment its fleet and enhance services throughout the Family Islands. You're watching JCN TV 14. We'll take a break here and we'll be right back following these commercials.